And we're back for the second episode of the Sideline. We got NFL Super Bowl talk here coming up for you guys to see. The Eagles and talking about Jalen Hurts celebrating on Broad Street.
The Friday Night Action starts right now.
Welcome back to the second episode of the Sideline. We're pumped and ready to go through another episode.
The Birds got the job done.
They did.
Killer fashion on Sunday, JP. Whopping score. Molly whopped the Chiefs. The Chiefs got a couple extra points and in garbage time, as people like to say. But man, that was a killer win.
It was unbelievable to watch.
It was over about near half.
Yeah.
It really solidified Chiefs didn't score a single point within the first half. JP, my question to you is, what's your Super Bowl biggest take?
My biggest takeaway, I would say, is we're the best team in football. And we can be the best team in football for, I think, the next 5 years if we keep doing what we're doing. We got a great GM, great owner, great culture. So we got to keep building off that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, especially with the general manager, Howie Roseman, the way he's been able to draft and acquire pieces through trading and trading away draft picks. I mean, for example, Carson Wentz trade, that resulted in plenty of picks that we were able to draft. Big piece of that trade that helped us get A.J. Brown, actually. So, I mean, Howie Roseman, I think within the future, I mean, you said we could have a reign for 5 years and maybe win another Super Bowl within those 5 years. I don't think you're wrong, but I think the biggest takeaway for me is the defense. I mean, the defense is the reason why we won the game. Vic Fangio, I mean, he cooked it up completely in the defense.
Yeah, our defense, they stole the show. They pressured Mahomes, made him make decisions, tough decisions, made him rush his thinking. And
100%. I mean, you look at even DeJean getting his first pick and first touchdown on his birthday. Absurd stuff right there. Josh Sweat could have been the MVP of the game. I believe he balled out. I want to say he had 2 or 3 sacks, and not to mention all the pressures that he had. But the defense was there. I mean, really, did we even see a big play that our secondary let up? Besides maybe, I mean, what were they scoring his second touchdown in garbage time?
Just the defense. The defense really just they.
It was powerful and explosive. I mean, the whole defensive line really was getting to Mahomes. Mahomes had no time. I mean, I don't know if that's faulty on the Chiefs O-line not being able to stop. I know Chris Jones was injured and he kind of went in and out throughout the rest of the game. But the defensive line, even when Chris Jones was in, I mean, they're all over.
Yeah, defense stepped up big. To expand on the thought I was saying earlier, Mahomes, he was flustered, you could tell. They got the whole Chiefs offense flustered. You got Kelsey flustered. You got Worthy flustered. You got the whole line flustered. So when you do that to a team that's used to being in rhythm and they're used to scoring with ease in the regular season and playoffs, it really just does a lot of damage to your mental game and mental approach and what you're doing forward. They really couldn't establish the run. The Eagles were forcing them to make dumb decisions, quick decisions, and just put a lot of pressure on them as a whole unit.
Yeah, 100%. I think we'll move here. I think the key to that is Jalen Hurts, really. I mean, looking at the beginning of the season, got a lot of flack for not being able to throw the ball.
And you weren't the biggest Hurts guy. You really weren't.
I wouldn't say I wasn't the biggest Hurts guy, but I wasn't going to say that he's MVP of the league or this is his best season. In my opinion, I don't think it was, but I don't think it needed to be.
So
I've always said I don't think it needed to be the best season. I think he could have done better when he needed to pass. I think he could have done a little bit more throughout the year, but I'll say it again. He didn't need to. We had Saquon Barkley who rushed for 2,000 yards with the best O-line in the league, really.
I mean, what he did, though, this season, just no turnovers until in the playoffs, and really no turnovers at all after our bye week. And he had that one turnover in the Super Bowl. But
foot throw.
That was a tough play, I believe. That was a tough play. It was a third down. Trying to get the ball to A.J. Brown, I believe it was. And the defense just made an unbelievable play. Spagnuolo, he drew up a good play there.
I mean, threw it off the back foot too. It was about 6 yards away from Brown.
And he really had really no turnovers after that bye week, and he just took care of the football. He did what he had to do, and similar to 2023, he he really just stepped up when we needed him most. And this time, he knew what it is going into the Super Bowl. He knew that he needed to be more locked in. The team had to be more locked in, and it played on real grass. Like CJ Gardner-Johnson said, run it back on real grass. We beat him by 40 points. So
100%.
I think that's stood tall.
He's definitely, Jalen Hurts always been a winner, and we definitely saw that this past weekend. I think you say 2023 a little bit. I think he had to be the guy 2023. I think he was the guy this year, especially in the Super Bowl and the playoffs, last 2 games really. But this year he really didn't have to be the guy. I think the guy was Saquon Barkley in my opinion. And we're going to talk about the biggest upgrades to the Eagles system. And honestly, I think it's Saquon Barkley. I mean, you make the arguments for Kellen Moore, who's now moving on to the Saints, or defensive coordinator, as in Vic Fangio, or even Nick Sirianni going bald. A lot of people bring it up going Baldiani. I mean, because he was playing very aggressive as a coach early on in the season when we were 2-2. And he changed his whole philosophy, it seemed. But Saquon Barkley, man, you can't deny it. I think without him, we're not in the same position. I think we're similar, but I don't think we get every win that we need without Saquon Barkley. I think he's our biggest addition.
Yeah. So we're talking about biggest addition.
Biggest upgrade to the Eagles system.
Okay. Well,
I think the range from coaching or players.
I think the biggest upgrade
in scheme, really.
You have to look at Kellen Moore, because we had one of the worst coordinating duos last year in Desai as our defensive coordinator and Brian Johnson as our offensive play caller, offensive coordinator, running bubble screens and quarterback draws, and it really wasn't. It wasn't you. I think you got to look at that. Saquon, obviously, but we also did the same thing with Miles Sanders. So I think you put any running back in that system, they're going to do good. Saquon is, but putting a running back of Saquon's caliber, you see what you got. The most yards ever in a season. I mean, unbelievable what we did with Saquon, what he has been able to do. The coordinators, I think you got to start with just having that, having all those plays in your toolbox, having those coaches in the building. Those are 2 NFL head coaches that we have as coordinators. We basically have 3 head coaches on our team. So I think that helps really a lot, and that's a big part of why we were so good this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you said Miles Sanders did the same thing. I mean, he had about 1,300, 1,400 yards. And Saquon had about 1,950 throughout the regular season.
Yeah, he had 2,005, I'm pretty sure.
Did he go over 2,000?
Yeah, he got 2,000 regular season.
Okay.
I think you're thinking of Derrick Henry.
Yeah, you're right. Derrick Henry had 1,957. But I do think, obviously, they had similar seasons, but I think it was a little more explosive with Saquon Barkley. I think it kind of almost flip-flopped rules with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. Saquon was the guy, and I think with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, Hurts was the guy. I'm not saying Hurts wasn't a guy this year, because Super Bowl MVP, obviously, and he played his part. But I don't think without Saquon Barkley, we're not in the same spot. But I definitely can agree that coordinators, Vic Fangio, he will be staying another year. We did lose out on Kellen Moore. So does that speak to the longevity of the Eagles dynasty, or what are you thinking?
I'm not sure. You look at the Chiefs dynasty, they had Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator for many years, and he really never got the attention to be an NFL head coach. People still wonder why he never did, but I feel like that is a part of a dynasty. You have the same coaches, you want to have the same players, and if we lose, we lost Kellen Moore. If we lose a guy like Zach Bond or something, I think you can maybe question it a little bit more, but coordinator, I'm not too worried about. I think we're going to get another guy in there that can fill the role. I mean, it's kind of going to be hard, though, having these systems,
100%.
these new systems coming forward for Jalen Hurts.
It's good changing it for Jalen Hurts, but I mean, he's adjusted throughout his career so far. I think this is within college or the NFL. I think it's his 8th coordinator, I want to say, in total, which is just absurd, having gone 8 years in a row, having a new offensive coordinator to learn a new scheme each year. So we'll see how it plays out. But I mean, in the end, I think we had the best general manager possibly of all time in the NFL. As it comes to see, he's got two Super Bowl championships under his belt, and it doesn't look like he's stopping. I think the Eagles have the money with Jeffrey Lurie to we sign guys like Bond, and we have other key free agent guys that we got to sign this year. And then maybe going out for a guy like Myles Garrett, if that fits in the criteria of where we want to be. I know Myles Garrett has formally requested a trade, and the Eagles are listed as a favorite for that. But to speak to longevity, I think they'll be a team to deal with for the next 10 years for sure.
And would you say, I know you said this before, would you say Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback still?
When I said he was a system quarterback, I'm glad I brought it up today. I don't mean it as he's a system quarterback because it's impossible to be a system quarterback, but I think he knew his role. He wasn't the guy. He was a guy, but he wasn't the guy. The guy this year was Saquon Barkley.
I just want to bring this up. In the Super Bowl, they took away Barkley. Barkley was a non-factor.
In comes Jalen.
And that also happened in Pittsburgh. So I don't know if you could necessarily say he's a system quarterback. I think he is the guy. I think he is a top 2 quarterback in the NFL, only behind Patrick Mahomes, because he finds a way to win every time. I think because okay, you can look at a guy like Burrow and Herbert and all these guys like Lamar, empty stats, all these big contracts for what? They don't win like Hurts.
I love Hurts. Hurts is the winner. I said that. I'm just saying this year, like I said, 2023, he was the guy. Well, everyone had to rely on him. This year, we had Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts was able to play a little bit lower in his point. He didn't have to be the guy. It didn't always rely on him.
Yeah. But Hurts, I think well, you said he knows his role. When it's a running game and Saquon's going off, he knows
He had to step up.
He knows
He knows
when to step back and he knows when to turn it on. And I think he is top 2 quarterback in the NFL. Take it or leave it. I believe that if you're 92-20 as a starting quarterback and you have two Super Bowl appearances in 4 years, I mean it's.
I agree. I definitely think he's a top 10 quarterback. I think he could be a top 5. I mean, he's a top 5 winner in my opinion. He's got a Super Bowl. He's already been to a Super Bowl. He's had a couple great years. I mean, the guy is good. That's undeniable, JP. But let me tell you this: the Birds won the Super Bowl, guys. Birds won the Super Bowl. JP, I know you'll be at the parade. I might be there as well. We'll have some coverage there. The guys did it. The Eagles did it. They did the job, finished the job, and there'll be more to come this year. Next year, I don't think it will stop for the Birds.
Yeah.
Birds won. The Birds took it down. JP, thank you guys for tuning into the Sideline. I've been Cameron Williams.
And I'm JP Urban. So excited and happy that the Birds won. Going to be celebrating on Broad Street, and tune in for episode 3. We're going to be talking about more, maybe some basketball, maybe some.
I'll see whatever comes down. We're rooting you guys in the next one. Make sure you tune in.
Yeah, make sure you tune in definitely.